Welcome back. It's time for our second destination reader lesson. I hope you enjoyed yesterday's lesson. Today, we're going to begin reading our story, The BFG by Roald Dahl. We're going to come across some key words written in red. These are really important words that will help you with your learning. There are going to be some questions for you to answer. These will be written in blue. And just like yesterday's lesson, there will be some time for you to do some writing as well. This will be written in green. Right, before we begin, I want you to check that you've got everything you need for the lesson. You'll need a copy of the story. If you don't have one already, your adult can pick up one from school. You'll also need a strategy prompt sheet, which you can also collect from school if you don't have one already. And you'll need a pencil or pen and a piece of paper or your home learning book. I want you to press pause and go and collect all of those things now, then press play, ready to start. Press pause now. Great, okay, you're back. Let's get going. The BFG by Roald Dahl. We're going to be starting today with strategy number 2, which is all about asking questions. And I want to know, why do good readers ask questions? Have a think, then say your answer out loud to yourself, to an adult, a brother or sister, even a cuddly toy. Then I want you to write your answer down. Why do good readers ask questions? Press pause, then press play once you've finished talking and writing. Press pause now. Well done, everyone. So good readers ask questions as they read because it helps them to understand what is happening in the story. Asking questions also keeps the reader interested and want to read more. So when you're reading, you might have little questions that pop into your head about what's happening in the story. Now remember, when we're asking questions in Destination Reader, it's a little bit strange as we can't always give the answer. Okay, brilliant. So vocabulary. These are some words that are going to come up in today's reading that you might find a little bit tricky, so I'm going to help you to understand them. We're going to do my turn, your turn. I'm going to say the word, then you'll say the word. My turn, the witching hour, your turn. My turn, the witching hour, your turn. The witching hour, it's a myth, it's not real. It's the time of night when witches and ghosts are thought to appear and be at their most powerful. It's really a time to try and scare people. The witching hour. Dormitory. My turn, dormitory, your turn. My turn, dormitory, your turn. A dormitory is a large bedroom with lots of beds in it where people sleep. And I know that in this story, the main character, Sophie, she sleeps in a dormitory. So she sleeps in a big bedroom with lots of other children. Dormitory. My turn, doze off. Your turn. My turn, doze off. Your turn. Doze off. It means to fall asleep. Doze off. Hesitated. My turn, hesitated, your turn. My turn, hesitated, your turn. Hesitated means that somebody has paused or stopped what they're doing, usually because they don't want to do it. Hesitated. Great. So we're going to see these words in our story today. Are you ready? Let's start reading. I'd like you to get your book, open up page number 1, and it is The Witching Hour. I will read and you'll follow along. We will stop at points to ask questions. Open up your book and get ready to follow along. I want you to follow along with your finger, just like we do in school. I'm going to stop at different points and we're going to ask some questions because that's our strategy today. Are you ready? Finger on the page, eyes ready to read, listening carefully. Sophie couldn't sleep. A brilliant moonbeam was slanting through a gap in the curtains. It was shining right onto her pillow. The other children in the dormitory had been asleep for hours. Sophie closed her eyes and lay quite still. She tried very hard to doze off. It was no good. The moonbeam was like a silver blade slicing through the room onto her face. We're going to stop there. I've got some questions. I'm thinking, why can't Sophie fall asleep? And I'm also thinking, I wonder why Sophie is sleeping in a dormitory. Let's keep reading. Finger on the page. The house was absolutely silent. No voices came up from downstairs. There were no footsteps on the floor above either. The window behind the curtain was wide open, but nobody was walking on the pavement outside. No cars went by on the street. Not the tiniest sound could be heard anywhere. Sophie had never known such a silence. Let's stop there. I've got some more questions. I want to know, why is it so quiet in the house and outside on the street? And I also want to know, how is Sophie feeling? Let's keep reading. Perhaps, she told herself, this was what they called the witching hour. The witching hour, somebody had once whispered to her, was a special moment in the middle of the night when every child and every grown-up was in a deep, deep sleep, and all the dark things came out from hiding and had the world to themselves. The moonbeam was brighter than ever on Sophie's pillow. She decided to get out of bed and close the gap in the curtains. You got punished if you were caught out of bed after lights out. Even if you said you had to go to the lavatory, that's the toilet, that was not accepted as an excuse and they punished you just the same. But there was no one about now. Sophie was sure of that. She reached out for her glasses that lay on the chair beside her bed. They had steel rims and very thick lenses, and she could hardly see anything without them. She put them on, then she slipped out of bed and tiptoed over to the window. Right, we're going to stop there. I've got some more questions. I'm thinking, I wonder who told Sophie what the witching hour was. And I'm also thinking, what is the punishment for getting caught out of bed at night? I want to know what questions you have. I want you to think about anything that we've read so far. See if you can use a different question word. I've used I wonder, what, and why. See if you can think of 3 questions about what we have read so far. Ask your questions out loud, then write your questions down. Once you've done that, press play, and when you're ready to begin, press let me do that again. So once you have written down your questions, you can press play when you are ready to begin again. Press pause now. Well done. I wonder what questions you've come up with. Get your finger ready and let's keep reading. When she reached the curtains, Sophie hesitated. She longed to duck under them and lean out of the window to see what the world looked like now that the witching hour was at hand. She listened again. Everywhere it was deathly still. The longing to look out became so strong she couldn't resist it. Quickly she ducked under the curtains and leaned out the window. Right, we're going to stop there. I've got some more questions. I'm thinking, what does it look like from Sophie's window when it is the witching hour? And I'm also thinking, why did Sophie get out of the bed when she's not allowed to? I wonder what questions you've got. Okay, what I'd like you to do is to think of your own questions about what we have just read. Say your questions out loud, then write it down. When you've finished, press play. Press pause now. Well done, everyone. You're doing brilliantly. Okay, let's keep reading. In the silvery moonlight, the village streets she knew so well seemed completely different. The houses looked bent and crooked, like houses in a fairy tale. Everything was pale and ghostly and milky white. Across the road she could see Mrs. Rance's shop, where you bought buttons and wool and bits of elastic. It didn't look real. There was something dim and misty about that too. Sophie allowed her eye to travel further and further down the street. Suddenly, she froze. There was something coming up the street on the opposite side. It was something black. Something tall and black. Something very tall and very black and very thin. Great. Okay, so that's the end of our chapter, and I've got some more questions to ask. I want to know, why did the village street look so different? And I also want to know, who is it that is coming up the street? Oh gosh, that was an exciting chapter. I want you to think about some questions. I want you to think about 3 questions that you've got about the chapter so far. I want you to say them out loud, and then I want you to write them down. Press pause now. Fantastic. Wow, that was a brilliant start to the story. I can't wait to keep reading and find out who that is coming down the street. Tomorrow we're going to continue reading the BFG, and we're going to carry on asking questions. You could keep making a big list of all the questions that you have so far. If you want to, you could even email them in to us at school so we could have a look. I look forward to being with you again tomorrow. Have a lovely rest of your day.